Dynasties don't last forever, but what if Alabama wasn't just a dynasty? What if they were the last true empire in college football, the final team to dominate an era with fear, control, and consistency? In a world now ruled by NIL deals, transfer portal chaos, and a 12-team playoff system, the landscape has changed, and not in Alabama's favor. Power has been scattered, parity has arrived, and with it, the death of long-term dominance. This really has nothing to do with Nick Saban's greatness. This is about how the Crimson Tide became the final college football superpower, and why the sport may never crown another team like them again. Before we dive in, if you love college football breakdowns and want to keep up with the changes rocking the sport, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a story. From 2009 to 2020, Alabama was untouchable. 6 national championships, 9 SEC titles, dozens of All-Americans, NFL draft picks, and unforgettable moments. Nick Saban did more than just win. He rewrote the rules of dominance. His recruiting classes were legendary, often finishing number 1 or number 2 in the nation. He created a factory of NFL talent and turned Tuscaloosa into the epicenter of college football. Saban's Alabama teams were a mix of talent and cultural edge, one that most teams could not match up to. They were disciplined, relentless, and emotionally prepared to handle the pressure that comes with being the hunted. Opponents feared them, fans expected championships. Year after year, Alabama was the gold standard. And this continued until the system changed. With the introduction of name, image, and likeness (NIL) rights in 2021, the game shifted dramatically. Suddenly, elite high school talent wasn't just chasing national titles or NFL development. Instead, they were considering which schools could offer the best financial opportunities. Boosters, collectives, and school-aligned businesses became critical players in recruiting. Alabama still recruited well, but they could no longer simply out-talent everyone else. Schools like Miami, Oregon, and even Jackson State began landing top-tier recruits through attractive NIL packages. The recruiting monopoly was over. Barely 2 years back, Colorado made national headlines for flipping multiple blue-chip players thanks to Coach Prime's charisma and the NIL hype surrounding Boulder. Texas A&M secured a historic recruiting class in 2022, reportedly fueled by one of the most lucrative NIL infrastructures in the country. The talent is spreading out. Now, let's be clear, there are still powerhouse programs, but what we're seeing now is a college football map dotted with good teams, not 1 or 2 great ones. Take the 2024 season. Who looked truly elite from start to finish? Georgia struggled against Auburn. USC couldn't stop anyone on defense. Michigan looked solid but never untouchable. Even Alabama had its flaws. Ohio State was the closest to elite, and even they didn't peak until late in the year. Their offense clicked, their defense stiffened, and they looked like the Buckeyes fans expected. But they didn't dominate from start to finish. They developed over time. That's the new norm. Flashes of brilliance, but no season-long juggernauts. Another reason Alabama might be the last dynasty, the expanded 12-team playoff format. Under the old BCS and 4-team CFP, every game mattered. One slip-up could end your season, but now you can lose 2 games and still make the postseason. That changes everything. It's no longer about being perfect. It's about surviving and peaking at the right time. That opens the door for more teams to make a run, but it also means fewer dynasties. Why? Because the gauntlet is longer. To win a title now, you have to survive multiple playoff games against top competition. It's no longer enough to have the best team. You need the deepest, healthiest, and most cohesive squad at the right time. That's hard to replicate year after year. Nick Saban mastered the old system, but the new one, it's chaos, and in chaos, dynasties don't survive. Another welcome or not so welcome change, the transfer portal. College football now functions like the NFL, where a player can switch schools with minimal restrictions. That means elite players won't wait 2 or 3 years behind a future first-rounder. If they aren't getting snaps, they're gone. Even Alabama felt this. Former 5-star QB Jalen Milroe entered the portal before deciding to return. Meanwhile, other top programs lost future stars to lateral or even downward transfers. Continuity is harder to maintain. Depth charts are in flux. And without that consistency, it's nearly impossible to build a sustained run like Saban did. Alabama's dominance was built on structure, a defined path to the championship, clear rules in recruiting, a predictable opponent landscape, and control over roster retention. All of that has evaporated. NIL has made recruiting a bidding war. The 12-team playoff has reduced the urgency of every game. The transfer portal has turned depth into a day-by-day dilemma. And as far as realignment is concerned, don't get us started. With teams like USC and UCLA now in the Big Ten, traditional power centers are being scrambled beyond recognition. In this chaos, sustained excellence is practically impossible, as it is hard. That's why Alabama's run from 2009 to 2020 stands alone, and it's why we may never see it again. Kalen DeBoer is now at the helm in Tuscaloosa, tasked with the impossible, inheriting a legacy built not just on dominance, but on expectation. He steps into a kingdom built by discipline, precision, and the vision of a once-in-a-lifetime coach. Can he win games? Absolutely. Can he bring home championships? Probably. But can he replicate what Nick Saban did? Sustained, decade-long control over the sport. That's where things get murky. Because, as great as Saban was, his success was as much about timing as it was about talent. He built his empire in a college football ecosystem that offered structure, predictability, and a tighter grip on talent. That system is gone. The rules have changed. The power has shifted. And no coach, no matter how brilliant, can dominate an environment designed to favor parity. In the next 10 years, we might see new champions rise, maybe even a repeat or two. But a 15-year run where one team is always in the championship conversation, that era likely walked out the door with Nick Saban. Alabama wasn't just a powerhouse, they were the powerhouse, the blueprint for what a modern dynasty could look like. From elite recruiting to relentless coaching, from national titles to NFL pipelines, the Crimson Tide stood above all. But that era is over. The very foundation that allowed Bama to dominate, stable rosters, structured postseason stakes, and clear recruiting advantages, has been ripped apart. Now, in this new age of NIL, playoff expansion, and transfer freedom, no program can hold the throne for long. Greatness will still exist, but dominance, sustained, unrelenting, decade-spanning dominance, that walked out with Nick Saban. Alabama was a powerhouse, yes, and even better, they were the powerhouse. And while they might still compete for titles, the system that allowed their dynasty is gone. In this new football age, we won't see another run like theirs. They weren't just a dynasty, they were the last dynasty. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more deep dives into the ever-changing world of college football. And while you're here, check out our videos in the catalog and stay up to date with football's latest happenings.